how was that funny? What on earth was that about? And I'm kind of hoping these discussion sessions might also be because we can go and start to kind of unpick the root of the joke. So the idea is to encourage sharing, to encourage people to reuse this content, to creatively engage with it, and to discuss it in a kind of very basic way. So when it works, mechanical comedian, that's the first time it's let me down. He will hopefully start tweeting very soon. Yeah. In the meantime, I guess I'm happy to get some of the which I'll show you. Now, one of the other things that we wanted to do was, obviously we've got this very basic automated version of reinterpreting these jokes from modern comedies that it's hit and miss, it needs a lot of work, and we're still kind of developing new ways to kind of create these memes or images. I also really just want to start putting this content out there and say to filmmakers, to comedians, to artists, actually just do what you want. Try and make them funny on your own terms, using your own medium, your own style. And as a kind of way to test this out, we're going to start hopefully, not just running official competitions, but kind of putting out a joke and one can say, right, everybody work on this one joke, see if you can make the funniest version. And as a kind of taster for that, I sent a collection of our jokes to a guy named Rob Walker, who's a filmmaker and animator in America, with something called the Victorian Cutout Theatre. And I said to him, right, well, just see if you can make these Victorian jokes funny again. And so he took a selection of the jokes about mothers-in-law and has made a kind of Monty Python-esque version of a 1970s sitcom. I'll play it for you. You can see kind of how it
My mother-in-law is animated before a live studio audience.
That dog of Eliza's across the way bit Mother again this morning, and I want to know what you propose doing about it.
I think I shall buy the dog.
Edwin, dear, Mama's going. Do say something pleasantly. Edwin, my darling, you know I say goodbye to your mother most pleasantly.
The last time you said goodbye pleasantly to my mother was at her funeral.
Nevertheless,
I shall endeavour to do my best.
this is the last night we shall all be together. Tomorrow I shall be far from here. 60 miles away, isn't it, Abigail?
Oh, 60 miles is quite near enough.
Terribly sorry about the dog bite, Mama. Edwin said he would reprimand Eliza for her negligence. Well, I can't judge her and her mongrel too harshly. She hasn't a husband and must have a brute of some sort to look after.
You insult me in my own home.
Now, Edwin, that's quite impossible. How's that? You live in a rented house. Abigail, before I depart, I must give you this bit of advice. Yes, Mama? Never love a man for money. It's wrong. But never love a man without money. That's just stupid. Good day.
I think given the source material, he did a pretty good job. So this is all kind of fun, kind of creative ways of playing with this kind of historical content, and it's an enjoyable way, and certainly from the point of view of thinking about impact, case studies. I think there's a great deal of potential here for kind of engaging with audiences, but I kind of want to stress there is a bigger picture here, and one that I think as digital humanities scholars we should be interested in. And the first, I suppose, centres on this idea of repurposing existing archives. We've digitised an enormous amount of content, we've spent millions on it, but it's not always contained within archives that are best suited to exploit. So if you think of a Victorian newspaper, there are so many different genres: sports reports, fashion columns, serialised fiction, stock market places, all of which could be explored in different ways and reformulated into new kinds of archives. So for me, I think there is a real challenge and opportunity here for us to actually think, well, how can we reimagine and repurpose existing archives? And then what are the technical challenges in doing that? I'm also really interested in this idea of remixing, I suppose, of taking two completely separate data sets, jokes, images, and thinking actually if we combine them, if we reformulate them into new archives, how might that shape the way we do research? How might it shape the way that members of the public experience these collections? Can we use this as a way, for example, to lead people into collections of Victorian images? Is there a way here for people to use this as a gateway to archives, to advertise interesting content in new kinds of ways? I'm also really interested in this idea of gamification, particularly of doing this in meaningful ways. So I think the real, the future for this project, as I see it, centres on a combination of the archive and that kind of impact work, and it centres on making them sort of mutually beneficial. So the idea for the future is that when people transcribe and mark up a version of the joke, that image, this sort of meme, is created in front of them dynamically as they do it. So the idea is, if you think about transcription, there's a lot of crowdsourced transcription projects around at the moment, and they reward users by saying, right, help with a great historical project, it's fine, or they give them these kind of imaginary sort of badges or points for completing transcriptions. I think actually making transcription more creative and giving them at the end, an image that you created, a unit of comedy you can send out to your friends, I think actually might be a way of incentivizing crowdsourced transcription in some interesting ways. You could do this on an app, and then while the kettle's boiling, put a transcriber joke to your friends. In that kind of very small, sort of bite-sized transcription, we could, essentially make the more frivolous, fun sides of this project build a better archive. And I think for me, that's where I'm really interested. It's like, how can we take that more sort of social media side of this and use it to create a better research environment for us. And finally, I just want to say about the last minute, a couple of words about that. It's been a fantastic experience working with Ben and the rest of the British Library. I've enjoyed it enormously. It's really allowed me to push forward my research into new areas. And in particular, I suppose, to appreciate some of the complexities of dealing with data. Things that you just don't know from the outside. Things you think will take 10 minutes, take 10 minutes. This is one of the things, until you're there in that context, you don't really know. And so it's been enormously useful for me, and I would strongly encourage all of you to apply. I think the advice certainly is, as Ben has already said, that my project, certainly the way I pitched it, was far too big for the time we had. But I think it's good to think in terms of the implications of what might your project go on to be outside of the context of that. And I think we have to think big, but also think in sort of small terms, what can I do with 4 months with resources that I have to hand. So that's me. And if you'd like to learn more about the project, I've been blogging about it, and I haven't updated in a while. On my website there, digitalhistorianist.com, or on my Twitter, Victorian. I would encourage all of you to follow the Mechanical Comedian when he starts working again, and to recirculate it to your friends, as long as you're not worried about losing Twitter. That's terrible. But thanks so much for that.